संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता
संस्कृति का वैभव जग में सबसे न्यारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
भारतीय संस्कृति का वैभव जग में सबसे न्यारा। ज्ञान और विज्ञान यहीं से सबने पाया सारा, सबने पाया सारा। कुछ धूलों से हारा फिर से जीते देश हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
त्यागशील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
त्यागशील सेवा व्रतधारी युवा जगे पुरुषार्थी। वैज्ञानिकता विनय सभ्यता स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी, स्वभाव हो निस्वार्थी। देशभक्ति में तेजस्वी हो फिर समाज यह सारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
शिवाजी बुद्ध गगन के तारे।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
महावीर गोविंद शिवाजी बुद्ध गगन के तारे। परंपरा की पुण्य चेतना उर में हम सब धारे, उर में हम सब धारे। बाल हृदय में उसे जगाकर जगे देश यह सारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
राष्ट्र समर्थ बनाओ।
जय भारत माँ जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ जय गीता माँ।
त्यागो सारी दुर्बलता को राष्ट्र समर्थ बनाओ। बंधु भाव समता ममता से सबको गले लगाओ, सबको गले लगाओ। चलो विवेकानंद मार्ग पर शुभ संदेश हमारा। गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा। भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
अधरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं, मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं, मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
वेणुर्मधुरो रेणुर्मधुरः पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं, मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
गीतं मधुरं पीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं, मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
तरणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं, मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीथी मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी बरनउ रघुबर विमल जसु जोदायक फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर है सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माही जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज सम्हारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबरपुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा कीजे नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरना मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय।
योगेशं सच्चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं व्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्।
Didi, start, please. Didi, you are unmuted. Please start. Start, Didi. Yes, start, Didi.
Jai Shri Krishna to all, and a heartfelt welcome to all the sadhaks gathered here today to the second Vivation session on chapter 16, How to Save Yourself from Lust, Anger and Greed. With deep devotion and surrender, we offer a salutation to Yogeshwar Lord Krishna and humble obeisance to revered Swami Shri Acharya Govindev Giriji Maharaj. At the outset, I would like to share a few important instructions for today's Zoom meeting. If you're unable to hear clearly, increase the volume on your iPhone or computer, or please connect to headphones. If the screen is not visible, please click on the Start Video button in the Zoom. If you see blurry screen or the speaker's voice is breaking frequently, you check your internet connection and if possible, use the Wi-Fi instead of mobile data. If Zoom keeps disconnecting, then you may also watch the session via the YouTube link. If the chat box is blinking continuously, tap the bell icon on the right-hand top corner to mute the notification. Now let us invoke the blessings of Lord Krishna by reciting this prayer. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvadam. Now, beginning this session, on this auspicious note, prayer is the place where restless mind softens and where the faith finds expression and where the heart quietly turns towards Bhagwan. I now humbly invite Padmalata Didi from Andhra Pradesh to lead us in the opening prayer. A homemaker, she joined the Geeta Pariwar in January 2022 and is giving seva as a trainer for L1, L2 and L3 level. Jai Shri Krishna Didi.
वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णौ वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णौ वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्.
Thank you, Didi, for a beautiful and a melodious prayer. Yadaditya tejo jagat bhasayate khilam. Bhagavan says the radiance that illuminates the world is a reflection of divine presence, his presence. It reminds us that the light we seek outside must also awaken within us, bringing clarity to our thoughts, purify our faith, and bring steadiness to our journey. I humbly request Yogita Kulkarni Didi from Sydney, Australia to virtually light the lamp and invoke the light of wisdom and auspiciousness. She joined the Geeta Pariwar in 2022 and gives seva as a trainer, mentor, anchor, and examiner. Jai Shri Krishna Didi.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृतां कलहंसकृतावासां वरदां शारदां नुमः वरदां शारदां नुमः.
Thank you so much, Didi, for taking us into your beautiful mandir and making us a part of a divine lamp lighting ceremony. To make some announcement, there's a Geeta Grammar session for level 2 tomorrow at 9 a.m. Please join as per language of your choice. Now, second, our IT team has introduced a wonderful new feature with a link, vivechan.learngeeta.com, which includes both the YouTube link and the corresponding Zoom meeting link. Now you can revisit your favorite Vivechan at your convenience, and also you can join the session on Zoom live and ask questions. Now we are truly blessed to have respected Vikas Vaidya to guide us through the enlightening session on topic how to save yourself from lust, anger, and greed. Under the divine guidance and boundless grace of revered Swami Shri Govindev Giriji Maharaj, our speaker Vikas Vaidya has been progressing with humility on the sacred path of Geeta and is completely dedicated to the mission of Geeta Pariwar. Our Vikas Bhaiya beautifully exemplifies the message of Bhagavad Gita that one can faithfully perform one's prescribed worldly duties of managing his IT company, being a software engineer with qualification of BE in mechanical engineering, while simultaneously engaging in selfless seva dedicated to a higher cause, an example of Swadharma and Nishkam Karma. Bhaiya has been an NRI for 12 years and is proficient in 6 languages, apart from vast knowledge of Sanskrit. I was fascinated by the clarity with which Bhaiya explains every Gita shloka, patiently unfolding it word by word in Sanskrit before revealing its meaning. Bhaiya not only explains the Bhagavad Gita beautifully, but also lives its teaching through his daily discipline. His practice of reciting all 18 chapters every day since past 5 years is truly inspiring. He is a trainer in Geeta Pariwar for L1 to L4 and is involved in trainer selection and also giving trainers training for L1 to L4. Bhaiya is involved in teaching Vivechans of Vishnu Sahasranam as a member of Pune Geeta Pariwar. He has also given Geeta Contest exam at Sringeri Peeth and received first prize at the hands of T.B. Jagadguru Shankaracharya. He gives guidance to Geeta Vritti sadhaks to prepare for Sringeri Peeth Geeta exam. I'm sure today with his Vivechan, followed by answering the questions of sadhaks, he will bring change in many of your life. Vikas Bhaiya, with great respect and joy and with folded hand, I humbly invite you to begin today's Vivechan and guide us deeper into the Bhagwan's wisdom. Over to you, Vaidya. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mohini Didi. We'll begin the session, but before that, I will have to apologize because today we have to take 21 shlokas. In last first session of this Adhyay, only 3 shlokas were taken. Now, so today we have to take 21 shlokas to complete the Adhyay today. So you'll have to excuse me if I run little fast. Okay, let us start with the reading of, last time we read 3 shlokas. God said 26th attributes, qualities of Daivi Sampatti, Daivi property. Abhayam Sabda Samshuddhir Dhyana Yoga Vyasti, Dhanandamashyadnyasya Swadhyayastapa Ahimsa Satyam Krodhastyaga Shantir Vaishanam, Daya Bhuteshalo Luptam Mardama Bhirachapalam, and Tejakshama Dhati Shaucha Madroho Natimanita, Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim, Abhijatasya Bharata. So these were the 26 Daivi properties. Our properties are our gunas, isn't it? If we have Daivi gunas, we have Daivi property. If we have Asuri guna, we have Asuri property. So this Adhyay is devoted to finding out within ourselves whether we are having Daivi Sampatti or Asuri Sampatti. If we have Daivi Sampatti, very good, continue. If we have Asuri Sampatti, drop it and try to take Daivi Sampatti. Okay, let us start with shlok number 4 then. Now the Asuri Sampatti. Daivi Sampatti was explained only in 3 shlokas. But remaining of the Adhyay is devoted to only Asuri Sampatti because God knows that people mostly are having Asuri Sampatti. Fourth shloka. Dambodharpo vimanascha krodha parushyame vacho ajnanai cha vijadasya partha sampadam. Arjuna, Dambha. Dambha is hypocrisy. What you are not, you are trying to show, and what you are, you don't want to show. That is Dambha, hypocrisy. Darpa, arrogance. Abhiman, pride. Krodh, anger. Parushya, that is very harsh speech. And Adnyan, ignorance. God says, these are the qualities of those born with demonic tendencies. Sampada Masurim. So these are the people who are born with this kind of qualities. Dambho, Darpo, Vimanascha, Krodha, Parushya, Vicha, Adnyanai Chavyatsa, Partha Sampada Masurim. After describing divine qualities in the previous 3 shlokas, Lord Krishna now explains the characteristics of Asuri, demoniac nature. Such people are not necessarily demon in appearance. They don't have horn on their heads like we see in the TV serials. Rather, their thoughts and their behavior are driven by selfishness and ego. That is Asuri Sampatti. Dambha, hypocrisy, means pretending to be virtuous while harboring selfish motives. Darpa is arrogance. It is looking down upon others. Main bada hoon, I am a great man, you are not so great. Abhiman, pride, is excessive attachment to one's own abilities. I have great wealth. My status is very high. Abhiman. Krodha, anger. It clouds the judgment. Krodha, and destroys the peace of mind. Parushya, harsh speech. It hurts others and creates conflict. And Adhyana, as we know, ignorance, is the inability to understand spiritual truth and moral responsibility. That is Adhyana. Shri Krishna teaches that these qualities pull a person away. Can we mute, please? Shri Krishna teaches that these qualities pull a person away from God. Dambodharpo, Vimanascha, Krodha, Parushya, and Adhyani. So these qualities, they pull away from the God and inner happiness. They create suffering not only for others, but also for the person himself. A simple example is a tree laden with fruits. The more fruit it bears, the more it bends down. Likewise, truly wise and capable people become humble. Only an empty branch stands stiff and proud. So these people are like that empty branch, don't have fruits. So this shloka encourages all of us for self-examination. Do we have dambha? Do we have darpa? Do we have abhiman? Do we have krodh? Do we speak very harsh? Or are we ignorant? So whenever arrogance, anger, or hypocrisy arise in our mind, we should replace them Devi Sampatti, that is humility, Namrata, kindness, Karuna, and wisdom, Jnana. Such transformation gradually leads us towards divine qualities. That is the purpose of this adhyaya. Identify in yourself the Asuri Sampatti and try to replace that with the Devi Sampatti. Unless we have Devi Sampatti, we cannot imagine to progress on the path of spirituality. There was once a king who wanted to appoint the wisest person in the kingdom. We will take questions at the end of sessions. So there was once a king who wanted to appoint the wisest person in the kingdom as a chief advisor. 3 scholars appeared before him, before the king. The first scholar entered the court wearing expensive robes and heavy ornaments. He very loudly proclaimed, I have mastered every scripture, I know Vedas, Upanishads, everything. No one in the kingdom is as intelligent as I am. Whoever disagrees with me is simply ignorant. The second scholar criticized everyone else's knowledge and mocked even the king's ministers. His speech was filled with sarcasm and contempt. The third scholar, he entered quietly, bowed down respectfully to the king, and said, Your Majesty, I have studied what I could. But every day I discover how much more there is to learn. The more we learn, we realize that we don't know much, isn't it? If I can serve the kingdom with whatever little knowledge I possess, I shall consider it to be my good fortune. The king smiled and appointed the third scholar. When asked why you appointed the third scholar, the king replied, Knowledge speaks softly. Ignorance shouts. Earlier 2 fellows, they were shouting. It was their ignorance. This fellow is knowledgeable. Knowledge speaks softly. A tree full of fruits bends low, while an empty drum makes loudest noise. So the first scholar possesses pride, abhiman, which is described in this shloka. He possessed arrogance, darpa, hypocrisy, dambha. The second scholar displayed anger, krodha, and harsh speech, parusha. Only the third scholar reflected humility and wisdom. So the connection of this shloka, this small story with this shloka is dambha is pretending to be virtuous or knowledgeable to get admiration only. Darpa, arrogance, feeling superior to others. Abhiman, excessive attachment to our abilities or our status. And krodh, losing control when one's ego is challenged. And parusha, speaking in ways that hurt and humiliate others. Ajnan, not recognizing that true greatness lies in humility and righteous conduct, not in arrogance and dambha. So the first 2 scholars embodied these qualities. Their learning had inflated their ego. God doesn't like ego. Instead of refining their character, their ego was bloated. The third scholar demonstrated that genuine wisdom naturally expresses itself through humility, through respect, and a willingness to keep learning. This is the true sign of a Vidwan, a scholar, that he says that I continue to learn every single day. So the moral of this story and this shloka is true knowledge makes a person humble, not arrogant. False knowledge makes a person arrogant. Wealth, education, and talent become divine gifts only when accompanied by humility, namrata. Otherwise, they feed the very qualities of hypocrisy, pride, anger, harshness, and arrogance. Dambodharpo bhimanascha krodha parishvayacha and ajnana. That Lord Krishna warns against these few qualities in this shloka. We will not have time for each shloka to discuss in details. As I said, we have to cover 21 shlokas. We have hardly covered one now. So next shloka, 5th. Daivi sampad vimokshaya nibandhaya Śrīmata māshu sampadam daivim avijato si pandava. God says, divine qualities lead to liberation, to moksha. Daivi sampad vimokshaya. Moksha is liberation. Moksha. Daivi sampatti mokshaya. Daivi sampatti, the divine qualities, lead to liberation. Okay, understood. Nibandhaya Surimata. While demoniac qualities, they lead to bondage, Nibandha. They put you under bondage. You keep coming in this cycle of birth and death. After every death, you don't get moksha. Out of question. God says, Mashicha, don't worry. Arjuna, don't grieve. You don't have to worry. Mashicha Sampadam Daivim Abhijatosi Pandava. Pandava, that means Arjuna, you are born with divine qualities. You are not born with asuri qualities. You don't have to worry. So Shri explains the consequence of the first two kinds of qualities described in this adhyaya. Devi Sampatti, that is divine qualities such as truthfulness, compassion, self-control, humility, that is described in the first three shlokas, Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhir Dhyana Vyavasthati and all. They lead a person towards moksha. Devi Sampatti moksha. On the other hand, Asuri Sampatti, demoniac qualities, bind a person more deeply to worldly desires, kamana, to ego, ahankar, and to misery. Shri Krishna reassures Arjuna by saying, don't grieve, Mashacha. You don't have to worry. Arjuna possesses noble qualities such as sincerity, courage, and devotion. Therefore, he is naturally inclined towards righteousness. He cannot be asuri. The message for us is universal. Every action strengthens either our divine or demoniac tendency. So we should be on guard all the time. Every action of ours, either it is strengthening our divine or demoniac tendency. Kindness, it strengthens the divine nature. Selfishness, it strengthens the demoniac nature. Over time, these tendencies shape our destiny. So apparently, an action, a karma may look very insignificant, but remember, it is leading us towards either Devi Sampatti or Asuri Sampatti. Consider two travelers. One follows a clear road leading towards beautiful city, while another wanders through a dense forest. Their destinations depend on the path they choose. Similarly, our inner qualities, they determine where our spiritual journey leads. This shloka gives us hope, no matter where we are today. By cultivating divine virtues, we can move towards freedom, peace, and ultimately moksha. Shri Krishna reminds us that our true nature is divine, like Arjuna. And spiritual growth is always possible through conscious efforts and through devotion. We cultivate the Asuri Sampatti. God has given us Devi Sampatti only. When we were born, we were all having Devi Sampatti. But over a period of time, we ignored the Devi Sampatti and started accumulating all Asuri Sampatti, landing us in problems. Next, Loka 6th. Dvo bhuta sargo lokesmin daiva asura evacha daivo vistarashah prokta asuram parthame shrunu. God says, in this world, there are two kinds of created beings. Dvo bhuta sargo loke asmin. Asmin is this world. The divine and the demoniac. Daiva asura evacha. Daivo vistarashah prokta. The divine nature has been described. In the earlier three shlokas, God has described. Now he says, Asurim Parthameshunam. Now hear from me about the demoniac nature. Asuri Sampatti. So Shri Krishna divides human tendencies into two broad categories. Devi, that is divine, and Asuri, that is demoniac. This division is not based on birth. One may be born in a Brahmin family, but he may be Asur, isn't it? It is not it is not based on caste or nationality or appearance. It is based entirely on one's character, his values, and the actions, the karma that he performs. The divine qualities were described earlier in the Adhyaya, in the first three shlokas. Now Shri Krishna begins a detailed explanation of demoniac mentality so that Arjuna can clearly recognize and avoid those tendencies of Asuri. Okay, we have to cover many shlokas, so I don't know. Anyway, so every human being contains both positive and negative tendencies. Every human being has Asuri Sampatti and Devi Sampatti. Spiritual life, it involves strengthening divine qualities and weakening the demoniac qualities. The purpose of this teaching is not to condemn others, but to understand ourselves. We don't use this shloka and condemn others. Oh, you are Dambha, you are Darpa, you are Abhiman, you are Krodha. We don't have to criticize others. It is for self-introspection. What we are. Imagine a garden. Good plants and weeds may grow in the same soil, isn't it? Weeds grow faster rather than the good plants. If the gardener waters only the flowers and removes the weeds, the garden flourishes, isn't it? Likewise, the mind contains noble thoughts, that is good plants, and selfish impulses, that is the weeds. We must nourish the noble ones and remove the weeds from our mind. Shri Krishna's description of demoniac nature is therefore a practical guide for self-improvement. By recognizing harmful attitudes such as arrogance, greed, denial of moral principles of life, we become capable of overcoming them. If we want to overcome something, we need to do self-introspection. No? What weaknesses I have? Then we can become capable of overcoming them. What is wrong in me? That I should know first. No? So this shloka prepares us for deeper insight into psychology of selfishness and materialism. Are we too much engrossed in material life? Are we become too much selfish? It will help us to choose a life aligned with truth. It will help us to choose a life aligned with virtue and spiritual wisdom. So this shloka is a precursor for the next few shlokas that are on the way now. 7th. Pravrittinja nivrittinja janana vidurasuraha na shauchanna pichacharo na satyanteshu vidyate. People of demoniac nature now. God says, I'm going to explain in detail about demoniac nature. So people of demoniac nature, Asuri Sampatti, they do not know what should be done and what should be avoided. Pravritti is to get engaged into doing something. Nivritti is to withdraw from something. They don't know in what to get engaged and from what they should retire. Pravrittincha nivrittincha janana vidurasuraha. Vidu is to know. No vidu. They don't understand. Asura, they don't understand what to get engaged into and what to withdraw from. They possess neither purity, na shochan, na pichacharo. Proper conduct. Acharan is our conduct. Not truthfulness, na satyan. Teshu vidyate. Vidyate is to have. So people of demoniac nature do not know what should be done and what should be avoided. Pravrittincha nivrittincha jana na vidurasuraha. Na shochan na pichacharo na satyanteshu vidyate. They possess neither purity, shaucham is purity, achara is proper conduct, and satyam is truthfulness. So Shri Krishna Bhagavan describes the moral confusion of people with demoniac tendencies. People with demoniac tendencies, they have great amount of confusion in their mind. They cannot distinguish between pravritti, the right action, and nivritti, the action that should be avoided. Their decisions are guided by personal desires rather than moral principles. Because of this confusion as to not knowing what should be done and what should be avoided, they neglect purity, na shaucham, both external and internal, body purity as well as mind purity. They disregard proper conduct. Acharan, they don't follow proper acharan. And often ignore truth, na satyan, when it conflicts with their interest. They don't hesitate to do asatya when the satya conflicts with their interest. So the problem is not merely lack of information. It is a lack of willingness. Willingness to follow what is right. They have no willingness to follow what is right. And they have no willingness to withdraw from what is wrong. Such people may know ethical principles. They have brain, of course. They know what is ethical principles. Intellectually, they may be brain people, good people intellectually, but they choose to ignore when convenient. We understand, we observe such people. Apparently, a person is very intelligent, but he keeps doing wrong things. That is this asuri tendency. They don't want to change their tendency. A useful example is a driver who refuses to follow traffic rules. We see many such drivers on the road today, isn't it? Not following traffic rules. The rules exist for safety, yet the driver considers them unnecessary. Red signal है और गाड़ी लेके गया तो क्या होता है? कुछ नहीं होता. He will break the signal. Eventually, this attitude leads to accident and suffering, which he doesn't realize. Similarly, moral and spiritual principles, they protect human well-beings. Don't disregard them. You will meet an accident. Shri Krishna teaches that truthfulness, cleanliness of mind, discipline, and righteous conduct, these are essential foundations for spiritual life. You can't ignore them. Without them, higher wisdom cannot develop. So this shloka encourages us to regularly examine our choices in life. What we are choosing in life. Are they guided by consciousness and wisdom, or merely by personal convenience? By choosing truth and right conduct, we strengthen our divine nature and move closer to inner harmony and spiritual fulfillment. So each asuri gun that we are studying in the shlokas now, including this one, what we studied just now, we should examine ourselves and keep ourselves away from this. Pravrittincha nivrittincha na janan vidurasuraha. They don't understand, but we understand after studying Gita. We know what to get engaged into and what to withdraw from. If we acquire this knowledge and follow the message of Krishna in our day-to-day life, then we have acquired Devi Sampatti. Very good. So as Pujya Swami says, Gita padhe padhaye aur jivan mein laaye. This is the way to bring into jivan. To understand what should be our pravritti and from where we should get nivritti. Once this concept is clear, and if we follow this concept in our day-to-day life, we can say, I am living Gita. I have followed Gita. I know what to get engaged into and from where I have to withdraw. So pravrittincha nivrittincha, this shloka is important. Time is not there, otherwise we could have done some dhyan also on this shloka. That is very important in spirituality. So this shloka encourages us to regularly examine our choices. Are we guided by our consciousness and wisdom, or merely by selfishness, greed, or personal convenience? By choosing truth and right achar and right conduct, we strengthen our divine nature and move ourselves away from asuri sampatti, and we go closer to our inner harmony and spiritual fulfillment. Next shloka, health. Asatyam pradishtante jagadahuranishwaram aparaspara sambhutam kimanyat kama hetukam. They say that the world is unreal. They means those asuri people. Asuri people, they say asatyam pradishtante. They say that the world is unreal, without moral foundation and without God. Jagadahuranishwaram, there is no God in the world. They say it is produced merely by mutual attraction. Aparaspara sambhutam kimanyat kama hetukam, and exists only for the satisfaction of desire. Shri Krishna now describes the world view of demoniac-minded people. Such individuals, they deny any higher purpose, any moral order, or any divine intelligence. Behind creation of this Srishti, they deny any of this. No higher purpose, no moral order, and no divine intelligence. They believe that the life is merely a product of material forces. Male, female come together and increase the population. Where is the question of God coming into picture? And they exist only for the fulfillment of desires. They say male and female, they are naturally attracted to each other, and then they grow, and then they will develop the Srishti. What is the role of God in this? According to this view, there is no ultimate truth, no accountability, and no spiritual goal. If pleasure becomes the highest objective of our life, moral values lose their importance. Is pleasure the only objective of our life? We have no moral values. Shri Krishna is not criticizing scientific inquiry, but a mindset that completely rejects ethical responsibility and spiritual reality. When people believe that life has no higher meaning, life is meant only for indriya upabhog, sense gratification only, selfishness often becomes the guiding principle of life. Imagine a student who thinks there will never be an examination. He may neglect study and discipline, isn't it? Similarly, a person who believes that there is no moral consequences to the actions, he will start acting irresponsibility. Gita teaches us that the universe operates according to a divine order. Actions have consequences. Every karma has a karma phala. Every karma has a karma bandha. That is the greatest principle of Gita. And human life has a spiritual purpose beyond temporary enjoyment. Since gratification is the only objective of life, we have a greater spiritual purpose in life. So this shloka invites us to reflect on our worldview. If life is seen only as a means of satisfying desires, kamana purti, lasting fulfillment remains impossible. True peace comes from recognizing the divine presence, moral responsibility, and the deeper purpose of our existence. Attaining Paramatma is the sole objective of my life. One who is clear about this concept, he can go on the path of spirituality. But one who is believing that sense gratification is the only objective of my life, what will happen to him? Next shloka, 9th. Etam drishtamavashtabhya nashtatmanalpabuddhayah pravantugrakarmana jagato hitaha. Holding such views, etam drishtamavashtabhya, holding such views, these ruined souls, that means Asuri people of little understanding, alpabuddhayah, that is little understanding people, engage in cruel action, pravantugra karmana, and kshaya jagato hitaha, and work for the destruction of the world. We are seeing what is happening in the world today. Whether it is President of America, or whether it is Iran, or whether it is any other country. People are fighting with each other to destroy the world. They are governed by their Asuri Sampatti. Shri Krishna explains the consequence of materialistic and godless outlook described in earlier shloka. When people reject moral responsibility and higher values of life, their actions become harmful to the society, to the world. The phrase nashtam, it refers to those who have lost contact with their higher self. Their intelligence becomes narrowly focused to selfish gain only. As a result, they may engage in ugra karma, harsh, destructive, and cruel activities. They don't care about the world. They don't care about the society. History provides many examples of individuals and groups whose greed, hatred, and lust for power caused suffering to countless people. Countless people. Second World War, Hitler, for example. Such behavior arises when selfish desire is placed above moral principles. Consider a person who cuts down an entire forest for immediate profit without concern for future generations. Short-term gain leads to long-term destruction. This reflects the mindset that Krishna is describing in this shloka. So the Gita teaches us that true wisdom, it includes concern for welfare of all beings. A spiritually mature person understands the interconnectedness of his life and acts responsibly. If I start cutting trees in the name of development, I may not get directly affected by it, but my future generation will get affected by it. So Gita teaches us, think about those who will get affected by it. Don't look for the temporary gains. So this shloka is a warning against selfish ideologies that ignore ethics, that ignore compassion. When people lose sight of higher values, society suffers, country suffers, world suffers. By cultivating wisdom, self-restraint, some interruption in between, sorry, and reverence for the life. If we follow this, we contribute to harmony rather than destruction and become instruments of the divine will. We want to be assisting God, no, in maintaining the Srishti Chakra. Are we enemies of God or what? To obstruct his this creation. Next sloka, 10th. Kamamashritya dushpuran dambhaman madanvitaha mohat gruhitva sadgrahan pravartante shutyavrataha. Taking refuge in insatiable desires. Kamamashritya dushpuran. You take refuge of kamanas which are never going to get completely fulfilled. Filled with hypocrisy. Dambhamana madanvitaha, filled with hypocrisy, pride and arrogance, and holding false beliefs through delusion. Mohat gruhitva sadgrahan. Pravartante shutyavrataha, they engage in impure practices. Ashutyavrataha. So Shri Krishna describes the inner driving force behind demoniac behavior. What is the driving force for those Asuri people? Insatiable desire. Kamanas which will never get fulfilled. One kamana gets fulfilled, the second is in the queue. That gets fulfilled, third is in the queue. I normally say kamanas is like a tissue box on our dining table. You take one tissue, the second comes attached to it. You take the second, third comes attached to it. Kamanas are like that. One kamana gets fulfilled, second is in the queue already. There is not a person whose all kamanas have been fulfilled in this world. So Krishna describes the inner driving force for these people. The word dushpuram means a desire that can never be fully satisfied. Dushpuram. Just as pouring water into bottomless vessel never fills the vessel, isn't it? Worldly cravings continue to grow when constantly indulged into them. Such individuals are dominated by hypocrisy, dambha, pride and arrogance. Their minds become clouded by delusion, mohat, causing them to accept false beliefs and reject the truth. They justify unethical actions because those actions support their desires. Kamana purti ho rahi hai na. So whether it is ethical or not ethical, who cares? They justify unethical actions. The phrase ashuchivrataha, it refers to impure practices and lifestyles that disregard moral and spiritual principles. The focus remains on personal gratification only for Asuri people. Rather than the righteousness, focus is on personal gratification. The famous anecdote is that King Midas. We know that Midas story. He desired unlimited wealth and received the power to turn everything into gold. We know that Midas story. Eventually, even the food he would touch will become gold, or the loved one he hugs, they become gold, showing that uncontrolled desire can destroy happiness rather than create it. Imagine everything that we touch becomes gold. Are we going to happy or sad in life? Our near ones and dear ones will become gold, metal. Shri Krishna teaches that desires themselves are not a problem. Having desire is not a problem. Slavery to desire is a problem. Without this, I cannot live. Slavery to desire is a problem. When desires are guided by wisdom and dharma, they become constructive. To have a desire that I will attain God is a good desire, no? Because it is supported by wisdom and by dharma. When they dominate the mind, they lead to restlessness and suffering. So Krishna is warning us against that. This shloka encourages moderation. Moderation in life. self-control, indriya nigraha, and spiritual awareness. Weigh every action, whether it is going to take you on the path of spirituality or on the path of destruction. Contentment and devotion, they bring lasting joy, whereas endless craving, endless kamanas only deepens dissatisfaction. Next sloka. Chintama parimeyancha pralayanthamupashritaha kamopabhoga parama etavaditi nishchitaha. Now these demoniac-minded people, they remain absorbed in endless anxieties until death. Chintame parimeyancha pralayantamupashritaha. Believing that sense enjoyment is the highest goal of life. Kamopabhoga parama etavaditi nishchitaha. खाओ पियो ऐश करो, that is their principle. Life is given only for enjoying, that is their principle. Shri Krishna now describes how uncontrolled desires create endless worries. Such people constantly think about acquiring wealth, acquiring power, acquiring status, or pleasures of life. Their anxieties are aparimeya, immeasurable. You can't measure their kamanas, their anxieties, and never ending. Even after obtaining one desire, another immediately rises. They firmly believe that enjoyment of worldly pleasures is life's ultimate purpose. God has given me the body, it is for enjoying the life. While spiritually minded people think God has given me the body to do spiritual sadhana and attain God. So these asur people, their minds remain restless, moving from one desire to another. A person chasing a marriage in the desert believes water lies ahead. No matter how far he runs, he never reaches that water because it is not there at all. Similarly, worldly desires, they promise lasting happiness but fail to provide permanent fulfillment. Bhagavad-Gītā teaches us that true peace comes not from accumulating pleasures but from mastering desires, controlling desires. That gives the true peace of mind, not satisfying every desire. Enjoyment have their place in life, yes, but they should not become the sole purpose of life. Krishna doesn't say that you don't enjoy your life. Balanced life. A balanced life rooted in dharma and devotion. It frees one from endless anxiety. Shri Krishna wants that when pleasure becomes the highest goal of life, the mind loses its stability and remains trapped in constant worry until the end of life. Pralayantam upashita. Next, 12th. आशापाशशतैर्बद्धः कामक्रोधपरायणाः ईहन्ते कामभोगार्थम् अन्यायेनार्थसञ्चयान्. Bound by hundreds of desires, आशापाशशतैर्बद्धः, bound, baddha is bound by hundreds of desires and driven by lust and anger, kamakrodhaparayanaha, they seek wealth through unjust means for sense enjoyment. Ihante kamabhogartham anyayenartha sanchayan. Shri Krishna compares worldly desires to the ropes that bind a person. The phrase asha pash, pash is rope that binds us, means countless cords of expectations and longing. Every unfulfilled desire creates attachment. That is the rope Krishna is talking about. Attachment leads to dependence. When desires are obstructed, it gets transformed into anger. Thus, lust and anger become the twin forces. Kamana and Krodh, they become the twin forces controlling the individual's life. Such people become willingly, they become willing to acquire wealth through dishonest methods, if it helps to fulfill their ambitions. The Mahabharata provides a clear example in Duryodhana, we know. His greed for power, his greed for kingdom led him to deception, to injustice, and ultimately destruction. Everybody died. No? All Kauravas, 100 Kauravas died. Though he possessed immense wealth, he remained dissatisfied. Was he very poor when he started the Mahabharata war? No, he was already king, very rich man. But he was dissatisfied even that. He didn't want to give even 5 villages to Pandavas. Ye kya hai bhai? Gita does not condemn wealth itself. Wealth earned through righteous means and used for noble purposes is valuable. Shri Krishna criticizes only the mentality that sacrifices ethics for material gain. You sacrifice ethics for getting material gains. That is criticized by Krishna. A bird trapped in a net, it struggles but cannot fly freely. Can it? No. Likewise, a person trapped in endless desires, endless kamanas, loses his inner freedom, cannot fly to spirituality. Real prosperity comes from contentment, from self-control, and from righteous living. So this shloka teaches us that desire should be governed by dharma. Otherwise, they become chain, bandha, that imprison the mind and leads to suffering. Next shloka, 13. Idamadhyamaya labdham imam prapse manoratham idamasti idamapi me bhavishyati punardhanam. These Asuri people, they think, today I gained this. Idamadhyamaya labdham. Today I have got this. Very good. I have got this today. Ivam prapse manoratham. Tomorrow I will obtain more. I will fulfill that desire. This desire has been fulfilled today. Tomorrow I will fulfill another desire. I have this wealth. Idamasti idamapi me. Bhavishyati punardhanam. And I shall get even more in future. A person who is constantly thinking of these lines, can he have peace of mind? Shri Krishna now reveals the inner thoughts of that Asuri person, demoniac-minded person. Such a person constantly calculates gains, achievements, and future acquisitions. Satisfaction never arrives because every accomplishment becomes a starting point for the new ambition. Their happiness depends entirely upon possessions and external success. They never look inward. They don't know there is something to be looked inward. Instead of gratitude, they focus on what more can be obtained. God has given me this, so I express my gratitude. Bhagavan, thank you very much. I give you thanks for that. Whatever I have got today in life. No, they don't do no expression of gratitude. They focus on what more can be obtained. The mind remains occupied with endless planning and accumulation all the time. They will never sit quiet. Their mind will be always working on some plan. Isko kaisa fasana, usko kaisa karna, how to get more and more. A man may own several houses, yet remain unhappy because he desires another one. I have 3 houses, but I don't have a farmhouse. I should have a farmhouse. I have a farmhouse and 3 houses, but I don't have a big bungalow. I should have a big bungalow. I have houses in India, but I don't have a house in London. I should have a house in London. Arey, kya hoga? Meanwhile, someone with modest means but contentment may live life peacefully. A person living in a 1-bedroom hall kitchen flat in India will be more happy than a person who is owning a flat in London. Isn't it? The difference lies not in possessions but in the attitude. The Gita teaches us that attachment to wealth, it creates insecurity because material possessions are temporary. When wealth becomes one's identity, fear of loss inevitably follows. What will happen if I lose all that I have earned? Shri Krishna is not opposing ambition. Rather, he warns against ambition driven solely by greed. That is his criticizing. Effort should be accompanied by gratitude, not by greed. They should be accompanied by humility, namrata. They should be followed by awareness that all achievements are temporary gifts of life. The house is going to come with you when we go from this world. Nothing is coming. Only our karma will come with us. Nothing will come with us. But Asuri Sampati people never thought of these lines. They never think on these lines. So this shloka reminds us that true fulfillment comes not from endless accumulation, but from inner contentment and spiritual understanding. A grateful heart experiences abundance even with little, while an ungrateful heart mind, it feels poor despite having great wealth. We see this happening. Next shloka, 14th. असौ हतः शत्रुर्हनिष्ये चापरानिपि ईश्वरोऽहं भोगी सिद्धोऽहं बलवान् सुखी. The Asuri people, God says, they think, I have destroyed one enemy. Asomaya hata shatru. Hata means to kill, to eliminate. So I have destroyed one enemy, I will destroy others. Asomaya hata shatru, anishya chaparanipi. और दूसरों भी खत्म कर दूंगा मैं. I am the Lord. Ishvaro aham. Aham is I am a Lord. They start equating themselves with God. I am God. I am Ishwar. I can kill anyone that comes in my way. I am the enjoyer, bhogi. Siddho aham. I am the successful person. Balavan. I am powerful. And Sukhi. I am happy. Their definition of happiness is different. So this shloka describes the arrogance born from power and success. The demoniac-minded people, they see life as a competition, whether others are obstacles to be conquered. Pride blinds them to reality. Such individuals, they believe themselves to be independent masters of their destiny. I will decide what I will do in life. I will attain what I will attain in life. Nobody can guide me. Nobody can tell me that you do this and you don't do that. They proclaim, I am the controller. I am powerful. I am successful. This ego-centered attitude, it separates them from humility and gratitude. The story of Ravana illustrates this mindset. Blessed with immense knowledge and strength, Ravana was a very intelligent man. So, blessed with immense knowledge and strength, he gradually became convinced of his own supremacy. Then he challenged the God. His arrogance prevented him from recognizing the truth and ultimately caused his downfall. Ravana's biggest weakness was his ahankar, that I am God. I can do whatever I want. Shri Krishna teaches that all abilities, strength, intelligence, wealth, and success are gift of divine. Don't claim the ownership yourself. They are the gifts of divine. When we forget this basic principle of life, the pride grows. ये मेरा है. My strength, my intelligence, my wealth, my success. अरे भाई, it is all given by divine grace to you. Pride distorts the judgment and it creates conflict in life. The truly wise person, he remains humble despite great achievements in life. Like a fruit-bearing tree that we discussed, it bends low. Greatness naturally expresses itself through humility. This shloka warns us that ego, ahankar, it creates a false sense of superiority. Temporary success can easily disappear, but spiritual wisdom remains permanent. Nobody can rob us of our spiritual wisdom. They can rob us of our property, our money, but nobody can rob us of our spiritual wisdom. Real happiness arises from recognizing our dependence on God, expressing our gratitude to God, and using our abilities for the welfare of others, seva, rather than for self-glorification. Further, Shlok 15, God says, Adhyo vijanamanasmi konyosti sadrusho maya yakshe dasyami modisha itta jnana vimohitaha. They think, Asuri people, I am wealthy and noble. Who is equal to me? Kon asti sadrusho maya. Konyosti sadrusho maya. Who is equal to me? I shall perform sacrifice, that means yajna. I will give charity, I will do dan, modisha, I will enjoy life. thus deluded by ignorance. So here Shri Krishna highlights spiritual pride. The demoniac person boasts not only about wealth and status, but even about religious activities. घर में पूजेगा तो उसका भी ढिंढोरा बैठेगा. I am great. I perform this puja. Charity and worship becomes tools for displaying superiority for him, not for devotion, but displaying superiority rather than the expression of devotion. Such people compare themselves constantly with others, and then they seek admiration from others. Say, I have done this puja. Their question is not how I can serve, but who is equal to me? Konyosti sadrusho maya. Mere sa kaun hai? Koi nahi hai. The problem lies not in wealth, or in charity, or in sacrifice, yajna. The problem is ego. If they give dana, charity, the ego is the controlling factor. If they perform yajna or puja, ego is the problem. A charitable act performed to gain praise, it loses much of its spiritual value. We see people donating and asking the people to put a big board of their name, either on the temple or in the hospital. ये पैसा मैंने दिया, इसके ऊपर लिखो ऐसा. हाँ. We see many temples wherein the God's name comes later. The person who has built that temple, it comes first. I always have that objection about Birla Mandirs. Birla name comes first and God's name comes later. Birla Ram Mandir. अरे भाई राम बिरला मंदिर बोलो ना. A charitable act performed to gain praise loses much its spiritual value then. An empty vessel often makes the loudest noise that we know sound. While a vessel filled with water remains quiet. Similarly, true noble people rarely boast about their accomplishments. Shri Krishna teaches us that all achievements should inspire gratitude. If I have got something in my life, I should express gratitude. Because as we learn in Geeta, we are not the only one who are responsible for our performing karma. There are 5 factors. In 18th Adhyay, when we will go, we will learn. Adhishtanantha karta karanicha pratagudam vividashtapatak cheshta daimai chevatra panchama. Daiva is also there, one of the 5 factors. So we are not the only one who are responsible and who will get everything done. 5 factors control completion of work. So Krishna teaches us that all achievements should inspire gratitude and not arrogance. Wealth and social status are temporary and can vanish at any time. Spiritual growth, it requires humility and recognition of God's grace. God को thank बोलना चाहिए every day, morning, evening, right. This shloka reminds us that even good deeds can become spiritually harmful. You do charity and then it grows, it boosts your ahankar, then it becomes dangerous for you. Spiritual harmful. If your ego gets bloated, it is spiritual harmful. It's motivated by pride. The highest charity performed without expectation of recognition is the true charity. That's why people donate and they say, don't write my name. Don't give me any receipt. I don't want my name to appear anywhere. I give it for noble cause. I do not give it for ahankar, for that you make advertisement of my name. So highest worship arises from love, not from display of our name. True greatness is measured not by what one possesses, but by the humility, namrata, and compassion with which one lives the life. Next shloka. 16th. Aneka chitta vibhranta moha jala samavrataha prasaktah kama bhogeshu patanti narageshu chau. Confused by countless thoughts. Aneka chitta vibhranta. Because they are thinking all the time. No? Confused by countless thoughts and trapped in delusion, moha jala samavrataha. They become addicted to pleasures, prasakta kama bhogeshu, and fall into impure conditions. Patanti narke ashuchau. So Shri Krishna describes the mental condition of people who are ruled by desires, kamana. God has criticized kamana in many shlokas in Gita. Kamana is your enemy number 1. Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhaha mahashino mahapapma vidyena miha vairinam. God says this is your enemy number one. So their minds are scattered among countless worries all the time. Because all desires are not getting fulfilled. So they're worried. Ambitions and fears and plans. This creates confusion and inner instability. The phrase moha jala means net of delusion. Like a fish trapped in a net, such individuals lose their freedom because of attachment to worldly pleasures, worldly kamana, worldly desires. The pleasures themselves are not contained by Krishna anywhere in Gita, but addiction to them, addiction to pleasure is dangerous. When enjoyment becomes the central focus of life, moral and spiritual growth get totally neglected. A monkey reaching into a jar, for example, for nuts, he puts his hand in the jar, but the hand gets trapped. If he opens his hand, the hand cannot come out. If he closes his hand, then he has to forget about the nuts. It refuses to release the grip. Similarly, attachment traps the human being. Freedom comes only when one learns to let it go. The hell mentioned here need not refer only to future state of our life. A mind filled with greed, with anxiety, with jealousy, with addiction, it experiences a kind of hell only. That is nark only. Narake ashicho. Even in this life, Shri Krishna encourages self-discipline and moderation. Yukta ahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu. In 6th Adhyaya also he has advocated this. When desires are controlled, the mind becomes clear and peaceful. Such clarity allows spiritual wisdom to flourish. And that should be our objective number one of life. Every thought, every action, every karma that we do, whether it is going to flourish my spirituality or not. So this shloka teaches us that attachment creates bondage, while detachment, it creates freedom and inner joy. Choice is ours. Next shloka 17. Atmasambhavita-stabdha dhanama-anamadhanvitaha yajante nama yajneste dambhena vidipurvakam. Atmasambhavita-stabdha, self-conceited and arrogant and intoxicated by wealth, dhanama-anamadhanvitaha, and pride, they perform yajna, that means sacrifice, merely for show, and not according to spiritual principles. Dambhena avidipurvakam. Shri Krishna now discusses religious hypocrisy. We see such religious hypocrites on TV shows also. फ्रिज में कोका कोला वाटर रखो, आपका क्या बोलते हैं उसको, सूप आना शुरू हो जाएगा. अरे क्या, what is the relation between putting a Coca-Cola bottle in your fridge and God getting happy with you? But people believe this utter rubbish. So Krishna is discussing the religious hypocrisy. Some people engage in worship not out of devotion but to gain prestige and admiration. Their spiritual practices become performances, not spiritual practice but performance. They are Atma Sambhavita. That means self-glorifying, Atma Sambhavita, self-glorifying. And Stabdha. Stabdha means stubborn and proud. Wealth and social status strengthens their arrogance. Such individuals may organize grand religious events, but their motivation is recognition rather than spiritual growth. Since their focus is external display only, the true spirit of worship is absent in all their karmas. A lamp shines because of the flame within, isn't it? Not because of the decoration on the outside of the lamp. If there is no flame inside, what decoration will help you? Similarly, devotion is measured by sincerity, in sincerity, not by outward grandeur that we show. Shri Krishna emphasizes that rituals must be performed with humility, with faith, and with proper understanding, not avidipurvakam, with vidipurvakam. Otherwise, they become empty formalities only, mechanical only. The Gita repeatedly teaches that God values the intention behind an action more than the action itself. Even a simple offering made with love is spiritually superior to a grand display motivated by pride. God has said in 9th Adhyaya also, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyi Yume Bhakta Prichati Tadam Bhakti Vardham Ashtami Prayatmana. Are why you give one leaf of tree, one flower, one fruit, or kuch nahi to one drop of water, that is also okay. Give it with devotion. God wants that only. He doesn't want high things, high value things. So this shloka encourages authenticity in spiritual life. The true worship transforms the heart. It reduces ego and deepens our devotion, bhakti. Any practice that increases arrogance, it moves us away from the divine. And we should avoid this arrogance and ahankar at all cost. Otherwise, learning Gita will not help us to get moksha if we cultivate these two bad qualities of ahankar and arrogance. Next sloka. Ahangaram balandarpam kamam krodam sasanshritaha mamatma-pradeshu pradvishantobhyasuyakaha. Taking refuge in ego, ahankar, bala, power, darpa, arrogance, kam, desire, and krodha, anger. They are all engaged. Asuri people are engaged in all these: ego, power, arrogance, desire, and anger. Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodam cha sanshritaha. They hate me, God says. Mamatma pardeheshu. I mean their body also, but they hate me. They hate me dwelling in themselves and others. So Sri Krishna reveals the deepest consequence of demoniac tendencies. Such individuals, they fail to recognize the divine presence in themselves. God has said, Mame Mausha Jivaloke, and Sarvasyam Risannavishto. I am there in the heart of everybody. They totally disregard this. They don't recognize this, the divine presence in themselves. And of course, in all other living beings. Driven by ego, by power, by lust, and by anger, they become hostile towards the truth and towards the virtue, punya. Their hatred ultimately extends towards God also. Human beings to hate kar liya, abhi their hatred goes to God also. Because they reject the divine principles present within creation. They don't accept that God has created this. When people see others merely as tools, competitors, or obstacles, and not as creation of God, they forget the sacredness of life. आप क्या आसमान से टपके हैं क्या? You are like others also, only. So compassion disappears from their mind and exploitation increases. They start exploiting others. A person who damages a mirror because he dislikes his reflection in the mirror, he misunderstands the real problem. That the problem is not in mirror, the problem is in him only. Likewise, hatred towards others often reflects inner ignorance and spiritual blindness. Gita teaches us that God resides in the heart of all beings. Respecting others is therefore an expression of respect towards that divine. You are not respecting that person, you are respecting the divine in that person. Shri Krishna urges us to cultivate humility and compassion. The more we recognize the divine presence in all, the less room remains for hatred and for anger. किसके साथ किसको हेट करोगे आप? डिवाइन को हेट करेंगे? किसके साथ गुस्सा करेंगे आप? With the divine. You will get angry with the divine. So this shloka reminds us that spiritual growth is inseparable from respect for others. If you cannot respect others, don't expect to go ahead on the path of spirituality. Learn to respect others. Love, kindness, and empathy are not merely moral virtues. They are expressions of seeing God everywhere. When you talk with soft words with others, you are accepting the God in him. Next shloka. तानहं द्विषतः क्रूरान् संसारेषु नराधमान् Shipam Midasar Mashaban Asureshveva Yonishu. God says, those hateful, cruel, cruran, sinful, Naradhaman are repeatedly born in demoniac conditions. Throughout the life, they keep performing demoniac activities, demoniac karma. So next verse also God says, I put them in Asuri Yoni only. Why God will give them divine Yoni? Karma bandha. So Krishna explains the law of spiritual consequence. Individuals who consistently cultivate cruelty, hatred, and selfishness, they shape their future experiences accordingly. So this is not an arbitrary punishment from God. We'll try to finish by 6:30, but I'm not too sure. I may take 5-10 minutes here and there because we have to complete there today. So you'll have to excuse me for that. Otherwise, I can only read the shlokas without speaking anything. But that does not help you, neither does it help me. So this is not an arbitrary punishment. Just as repeated actions create habits, repeated habits create character, and character shapes our destiny. The phrase Asuri Yunisha, Asuri Yunishu refers to circumstances that reinforce ignorance and selfishness. A person dominated by demoniac tendencies, he naturally gravitates towards environment that strengthen those tendencies only. A student who repeatedly neglects study, he fails in the examination and remains in the same class. Similarly, Asuri people doing the same thing, they will remain in the Asuri class only. The result is not punishment, but natural outcome of choices. You have done it by your own choice. You are not studied, so you are in the same class. Thank you so much. So the result is not punishment, but the natural outcome of our choice. If you choose not to study, how can you progress? How can you go to the next class? Similarly, spiritual progress depends upon qualities we cultivate. If we cultivate Asuri quality, how can you get next birth in the Devi quality, with Devi quality? So Sri Krishna's intention is not to inspire fear in our mind. हमको घबराना नहीं चाह रहे, but responsibly. We should behave responsibly. Every thought, every action contributes to our spiritual evolution. That we should understand at all times. That every thought coming into our mind, every karma, every action that we execute, it is either leading us to our spiritual evolution or to our destruction. Choice is ours. The good news is that the change is always possible. Change is always possible. Otherwise, that Ratnakar dacoit could not have become Valmiki, isn't it? Change is possible. We conduct many classes for the prisoners in jails, and we keep telling them that change is possible. You can change, you can change, you can change. Geeta says you can change. By choosing compassion, by choosing truthfulness, by choosing devotion, a person can reverse negative tendencies of life and progress towards higher consciousness. So this shloka emphasizes the principle that our future is largely shaped by our present character and our present choices. हमारा भविष्य हमारे हाथ में होता है. We write our future with our own thoughts and with our own karmas. Nobody does it for us. Next shloka 20. Asurim yonimapanna mudha janmani janmani mamaprapteva kaunteya tato yantadhamang gatim. God says birth after birth, janmani janmani. Birth after birth, the deluded people attain demoniac states and fail to reach me, thereby descending to those conditions. Descending to conditions. Yanta dhamangati, adhamgati. So Shri Krishna concludes this section by describing the long-term consequence of persistent ignorance. Those who continually reject the spiritual wisdom and remain attached to selfishness, they fail to attain God realization. How can they? Impossible. You are rejecting spiritual realization, you are getting attached to selfishness. and you are expecting to attain God. Is it possible? The word mudha means refers to those whose understanding is clouded by ignorance. Mudha, murkha matlab. Because they repeatedly choose selfishness over wisdom. They remain trapped in the cycles of suffering and delusion. Just as a traveler walking in the wrong direction moves further away from his destination. You are going to Delhi, you want to go to Delhi, and you start walking in the direction of Chennai. Can you reach Delhi? So a person who ignores spiritual truth, he moves further from inner peace. However, Sri Krishna's teaching is ultimately compassionate. The purpose of describing these consequences is not condemnation, but awakening. The Gita consistently teaches that transformation is always possible through sincere efforts, through devotion, bhakti, and through self-reflection. No one is permanently doomed. That is the greatest principle of Gita. No one is permanently doomed. Every moment offers us an opportunity to choose divine qualities over demoniac tendencies. We choose demoniac and then land in problem. But we are not permanently doomed. We can choose divine qualities and come out of this. So this shloka serves as a reminder that human life is precious. 84 lakh योनि में से एक योनि है human life, wherein we have been given this freedom to do karma and attain God. No other yoni has this. It should be used for spiritual growth, not for material enjoyment. It should be used for self-purification. Whatever past karmas we have done in earlier lives, those should be washed out. And we should realize God in this species, in this human life. By cultivating humility, by cultivating devotion, bhakti, wisdom, jnana, and compassion, one gradually rises above ignorance and attains the supreme goal of life, the loving union with the divine. Aham Brahmasmi. We become one with the God. That is the ultimate objective of our life, isn't it? Next shloka, 21. Trividannaragasyedan dvaran nashanamaatmanaha kamakrodhasthatha lobhastasmad detatrayan tejet. God says important thing now. There are 3 gates leading to hell. Trividan narakasyedan. There are 3 gates leading to hell and self-destruction. Lust, kama, anger, krodh, and lobha, greed. These are the 3 gateways to hell. Nark. Therefore, one should abandon these. Tasmat detatrayan tejet. Tejet matlab chhod do usko, mat karo usko. So in this important shloka, Shri Krishna identifies the 3 greatest enemies of spiritual life. Kama, uncontrolled desires. Krodha, anger, and lobha, greed. Shri Krishna calls them 3 gates of hell. Trividan Naragasedan. Because they destroy the person's peace. They destroy his wisdom, jnana. They destroy his spiritual progress. So it is hell only. Shri Krishna arises when the mind becomes obsessed with obtaining something. When the desire is frustrated, it often turns into krodha. If desire is not getting fulfilled, you will get krodha only. When desires are fulfilled, instead of satisfaction, lobha, greed, I want more. ये करने में तो मजा आया, I want more of this. Lobha will come into picture, demanding even more. So thus the 3 are interconnected and constantly feed one another. कामना पूर्ति हो गई तो लोभ, नहीं हुई तो क्रोध. Both ways it is killing us. Consider a small spark falling into a dry forest. We see forest fires in Australia, in America, many countries, in some part of India also. If uncontrolled, it can become a devastating wildfire. Similarly, a small desire can grow into greed. It can grow into anger. It can grow, eventually, it will ruin all relationships, health, and character. Wildfire. The famous example is of Duryodhana from Mahabharata. His greed for Pandava's kingdom led to anger, hatred, and finally destruction. So it's the best example of Trivida Naraka Sajan Dwaranashanatman. And not only his, but his entire family got destroyed. So Shri Krishna does not ask us to suppress all desires. Rather, he advises to control and purify them through dharma, through self-discipline, and through devotion. Mind है तो कामना तो आएगी mind में. Mind needs some food for thought all the time. But why not to provide that food for thought according to dharma, according to self-discipline, and according to devotion? By overcoming lust, by overcoming anger, and by overcoming greed, lobha, over to peace, wisdom, and spiritual liberation, moksha. So those three gates, if we avoid, Trividan Naraka Siddhan Dwaran Nashanatma, Kama Krodhada Lobhas. If we close those three doors and we go in the opposite direction of peace, wisdom, and spiritual liberation, then we are getting moksha. We are getting heaven, even higher than heaven. We become one with the God. Next look 22nd. Eteirvamukta kaunteya tamodvaraistrihirnaraha acharatyatmanashreyas tato yati parangatim. Kaunteya, son of Kunti, one who is free from these three gates of darkness, Kama Krodha Lobhas, he acts on his own welfare and attains the supreme destination. Eter Mukta Kaunteya, Tamodvare Strivinaraha, Acharatyatmana Shreyas, Tato Yati Parangatim. He attained Parangati. So, having identified that lust, anger, and greed as the three gates to hell, Shri Krishna now explains the reward for overcoming those gates, closing down those gates in our life. Krishna now explains the reward for overcoming this. A person who frees himself from these destructive tendencies of Kam, Krodh, Lobh, he naturally begins to act for his true welfare. Atmana Shreya. Most people seek immediate pleasure in life, but Shri Krishna speaks of lasting welfare. Don't be short-sighted. Look at lasting welfare. That which benefits the soul, not body, but the soul. When the mind is not disturbed by cravings, kamanas, by anger, krodh, or by greed, lobha, it becomes calm and capable of making wise decisions in life. Imagine a lake of water whose water is constantly disturbed by storms. The surface cannot reflect the sky clearly because there is storm all the time. Water is disturbed all the time. When the storm subsides, the water becomes still and reflects everything perfectly. Likewise, when the storm of lust, storm of anger, and storm of greed are removed, the mind reflects truth and wisdom. Such a person, he gradually develops compassion in life, contentment in life, patience in life, and devotion, bhakti in life. These qualities help him to progress towards Param Gati. God says Param Gati, the supreme destination that we all strive for, which is God realization and liberation, moksha from the worldly bondage. So this shloka gives us a positive message. Only 2 shlokas are remaining, so please have patience for only a few minutes, not more. Shri Krishna does not merely warn against negative qualities, he shows the path to happiness. Freedom from destructive emotions is not a loss but a great gain. If you avoid Kam, Krodh, Lobh, you are going to get great gain in life. It brings clarity, it brings inner strength, it brings ability to live the life aligned with dharma, aligned with divine purpose, and ultimately moksha. If you close down these 3 gates of Kam, Krodh, Lobh, you are going to the path of heaven, to the path of unity with God. Okay, next look at 23rd. Yashasridam utsrajya vartate kamakarataha nasasiddhima apnoti nasukhan naparangatim. He who disregards the teaching of scriptures or Shastra. Shastra Vedam Utsrajya. Utsrajya is to give up. Don't follow that. That means those who disregard teachings of Shastra, scriptures, and according to his own desires, he attains neither perfection, nor happiness, nor the supreme goal. So Sri Krishna emphasizes the importance of following Shastra, Forest Shastra is our Gita. Gita is our Shastra. Whatever Krishna has said in Gita is Shastra for us. We are not reading Upanishads. We are not reading Samveda, Rigveda. So Shastra for us is our Bhagavad Gita. So God says importance of this Shastra now. The spiritual moral guidance provided by our sacred scriptures. Scriptures are not meant to restrict human freedom. They are meant to guide people towards life of wisdom, life of harmony and spiritual growth. A person who ignores scripture principles, dharmic principles, and acts solely according to personal desires may temporarily enjoy freedom. Yes, temporarily, yes. But eventually, he becomes trapped by the consequences of his action. Desire-driven living often leads to confusion, disappointment, and ultimate suffering only. Consider a traveler navigating a deep forest, dense forest. Without a map or guide, he may wander aimlessly and get lost in the forest. Scriptures function like a reliable map for us in our life, showing the safest and most beneficial path for our life. If we disregard that map, then we'll get lost in life. Shri Krishna states that such a person attains neither siddhi, that means success or perfection, nor sukha, true happiness, that means, or parangatim, spiritual liberation, moksha. Material success alone cannot provide lasting fulfillment of life. If one's life lacks moral and spiritual direction, he cannot get any of this. So this shloka encourages thoughtful obedience to spiritual wisdom. Our shastras are not only for reading, they're for bringing in life. They are guidance to the life. It does not advocate blind faith, but intelligent respect for the proven principles. All Rishi Munis, they were not intelligent. They were mood or what for writing these principles of life. So by aligning our actions with dharma rather than mere impulses of our mind, we avoid many mistakes and move steadily towards inner peace and spiritual realization. Okay, last shloka now quickly. तस्मात् शास्त्रं प्रमाणन्ते कार्याकार्यौ व्यवस्थितौ ज्ञात्वा शास्त्रविधानोक्तं कर्म कर्तुमिहार्हसि. God says, therefore, tasmat means therefore. That's why let scripture be your authority in determining what you should do and what you should not do. Tasmat shastram pramanante karya akarya vyavastito. Knowing the teachings of scriptures, jnatva shastravidhanuktam, you should act accordingly. Karma kartum iharas. So this is the final shloka of 16th Adhyay, Devasur Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. It serves as Krishna's conclusion to the discussion of Devi Sampatti and Asuri Sampatti, divine and demoniac qualities. Since human beings can easily become confused by emotions, by desires, by personal opinions, Shri Krishna advises that Shastra should be the standard. Shastra should be the standard for deciding the right and wrong. इसने ये बोला, उसने वो बोला. Forget about, take Shastra as the Praman. The word Praman means a trustworthy source of knowledge. Shastra is a Praman. Just as scientific principles, they guide engineers and doctors. Spiritual scriptures, they guide the devotees, the seekers, in the matters of ethics, duty, and spiritual growth. However, Shri Krishna does not suggest mechanical rule following. Scriptures must be understood with wisdom. Gita should be understood with reflection and with proper guidance. Their purpose is to help individuals live according to dharma and attain the spiritual progress in life. A ship sailing across the ocean depends on the compass, isn't it? The compass that shows the direction. Storms may obscure the sky, but the compass continues to indicate the correct direction. Similarly, life's challenges may create confusion, but the scriptural wisdom, it helps maintain the right course. It is a compass for us to show the right direction. So this shloka emphasizes disciplined living rooted in eternal values rather than changing moods and desires. When actions are guided by scriptural wisdom, Shastra, they become purifying and they become beneficial for us. So this chapter, Devasura Sambad Vivага Yoga, it concludes with a practical message: cultivate divine qualities. Devi Sampatti ko badhaiye. Avoid lust, avoid anger, and avoid greed. And let the wisdom of sacred teachings guide your actions towards peace, righteousness, and God realization. So this is the message of this adhyay. We can stop here, or we can discuss some anecdotes, some stories. Choice is yours. Or question, the forum is now open for you to raise questions or listen to some stories related to this adhyay. Thank you so much.
Because Vaidya, our heartfelt gratitudes for such a beautiful and illuminating Vivechan. Through today's reflection, you gently guided us on how to save ourselves from asuri attitudes and move one step closer towards living Gita in this world by following your suggested practical tips like having a reflection and trying to change it all your asuri, if you had any asuri attitudes. Thank you very much again, Vikas Bhaiya. Now we are now sharing the Zoom meeting link for all the seekers who are watching us on Facebook or on YouTube. We warmly invite you to join us on the Zoom and ask your questions directly to Vikas Bhaiya. Our IT team has introduced a wonderful new feature with a link, vivechan.learngeeta.com, which includes both the YouTube and the corresponding Zoom meeting link. Now you can revisit your favorite Vivechan at your convenience, and you can join the session on Zoom live and ask the questions. Now we can request the sadhaks to please raise their hands and, if possible, switch on their video cameras to ask the question to Vikas Bhaiya. Request those who are watching this session through YouTube to please join our Zoom link should you wish to have your doubts clarified by Vikas Bhaiya. Jai Shri Krishna.
Yeah, most welcome to ask questions.
Yes. First is Haricharan, I think. Yes.
Unmute.
Harichandana.
Yeah, unmute Priya.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna, can you just unmute yourself, please?
Net problem.
Bhaiya, you can unmute them.
Yes, I have unmuted, but I think net problem is there.
Okay, you can ask. We can hear you.
Okay, you can. I think she is still. Yes. Unmute, Didi.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
First of all, heartful thanks to you that you explained so well. Matlab, in the stipulated time, you have completed all these slokas. We are very grateful for your
That was
time.
more challenging. That was more challenging.
That was very challenging. And ma'am, anchor, I please request you, the children below certain age don't have the maturity to understand. If they're not accompanied by an elder, it is better to, tell them or at least turn them off, because it will decrease the morale of the speaker. Like constant messages, it will disturb the class too. So I request, please consider that. Thank you very much, sir. I really loved your Vivechan, and I'm looking forward for the PDF so that I can make the notes. The first thing was to listen. So it was very nice. And I know maybe with more time you would have explained it even beautiful way, with more experiences and more stories. So thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, each slok has a story. Each slok can be explained with a story.
Yes,
When we
each
do
slok you have given a short
the slok is
story.
remembered very well.
Yes. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Iti Didi.
Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya.
Jai Shri Krishna.
I really liked the Vivechan. You explained
Thank you
it
so
very
much.
nicely.
Thank you so
I
much,
have a
Didi.
question. What does
Yeah.
Pravrittrincha Nivruttrincha means?
That we discussed. Pravritti is to get engaged into doing something meaningful. Meaningful in the sense, whatever we do for attainment of God is pravritti. That should be the activity in which we should get engaged into. So doing japa, nama smaran, reading Geeta, reading Vishnu Sahasranam is the pravritti in which we should get engaged into. And nivritti, something.
And one more question.
Yeah.
In one of the shlokas, you mentioned something about the principles, 8th principle, something like this. What does it mean?
Every shloka is a principle.
You
Every shloka
you
is
you mentioned in one of the shlokas something like etheric principle, something like this. I didn't know what that means.
No, see, every shloka Bhagavad Gita is teaching us some principle. Now we learned the shloka Trividam Naraka Siddham Dvarandashan Matmana Kama Krodha Saluvas Tasmad Train. We learned this shloka, na?
Yeah, but
So this is a principle.
what does that etheric principle means? You said something like
That means
this.
follow. Ethical principle is follow the ethics. That we conclude in the last shloka also. Follow the Shastras. So ethics is following good style, good acharan, good behavior is ethical. Not to hate people, not to be greedy, is ethical. So ethical principle is this principle that live the life in line with the Daivi Sampatti, which is explained in the first 3 shlokas of Gita, this Adhyay, and not in line with the Asuri Sampatti, which is explained in the remaining shlokas of this Adhyay. So living our life with Asura Daivi Sampatti is the ethical way of life.
Yeah, thank you, Bhaiya, for
Thank you.
Yeah, did he unmute? Yes.
Jai Shri Krishna, sir.
Jai Shri Krishna.
I wanted to say you explained very well and it was very easy to understand. I have one question from Shloka 10. Damba Mana Madanvitaha. That word means?
Damba and Man. Damba is what you are. Hypocrisy. Damba is hypocrisy. What you are not, you are not showing that. A person who is poor, he doesn't want to show that he is poor. So he will borrow clothes from somebody. He will wear rich clothes to show that no, he is not poor, he is rich. While a rich person, he will purposely wear torn clothes so that people don't ask money from him. Both are doing damba. The rich man doesn't want to show that he is rich. The poor one doesn't want to show that he is poor. Both are doing damba. What you are that you are not showing, what you are not that you want to show is damba. And man, your pride, false pride. I am the great. I know the Gita very well. Nobody knows Gita the way I know. My goodness. This is mana, damba, mana, madan, vitaha. We get engrossed in this all the time. That means we are ruled by these 2 bad characteristics which God calls demoniac qualities. Damba and man.
Astu. Dhanyavada, sir.
Rajesh Bhaiya?
My question is that first I will make thank you, gratitude, thank you for such a nice teaching today. My question is that I am in touch, I'm in Adhyatmika, and this time, first time I'm learning Gita, I've completed 3 adhyayas. Now I don't have any greed, etc., etc. But in surrounding, if your family members doing the things which we don't, with the Gita don't say, then at that time, what should we behave, how to face?
See, ultimately, Dada, everyone has his own life to live. Some people's awareness wakes up late in the life. Our awareness has waked up now. It is awakened now. So we know the principles of Gita, and as you rightly said, then we don't become greedy. We don't have this kind of desires related to material life. But those who are still not awakened, they will continue to get ruled by this materialistic life. Their time will come. Our job is only to tell them that the right way of living life is this. Choice is yours. God doesn't force anyone to live the life according to his principles only. He is showing us a mirror. Devi Sampati is this mirror. Asur Sampati is this mirror. Choice is yours. You want to become Dev or you want to become Asur, choice is yours. If you become Asur, then you will go into lower and lower unis, life after life. If you become Dev, then you will come to me. Choice is ours, whether you want to go to Dev or you want to go to lower species, lower than human beings. Isn't it?
Thank you, sir. I'm so happy to hear today's things. so happy. I was very eager to listen more examples what you were interested, but due to time we are not getting with the every slok with some example.
There are many stories which I can tell about all these slokas, interesting stories, but there is no time. If I had only 10 slokas to take today, I would have definitely told you 10 stories.
Okay. Thank you.
Gauri Didi.
Jai Shri Krishna, Bhaiya.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Today's session was very, very interesting because it is the first time that whole session I started idling from the second or third. Normally I don't do, but it's really, it has really enlightened the things. But one thing is disturbing me that even though I try to be, uh, but somewhere the external forces are disturbing the things. How should we live in such a situation?
See, outside things outside. Outside circumstances should not disturb our inner peace. That is the principle of Gita. Outside things are not under our control. The war between Iran and America, is it under our control? Can we stop the war? We cannot. So there's no point in worrying about it. What will happen to the world if the war erupts more and all that? Something which is not under our control, external situations are not under our control. The artificial intelligence has come into picture. Many people will lose their jobs, but some new job will get created. So instead of getting scared of external situations, we should try to live with those external situations without disturbing our inner peace. That is the art of living life.
Thank you, Bhaiya.
Thank you.
Geeta Didi, unmute yourself. Yes.
Jai Shri Krishna. Thank
Shri
you so much,
Krishna.
Bhaiya, for the most excellent Vivechan Nirupan till time I have ever attended. Just one question. Out of those two questions, rather, I have, if you permit. The one is the Shlok Kramanka 15th, Adhyo Bhijana Vanasmi. I want to know the meaning of this.
Adhyo Bhijanavanasmi, those people always think Kunyos to Sadrusho Maya. This is important. Who is like me? They consider themselves as God. The shloka reads, the 10th shloka, as you wanted to know. Kamamashita
15th.
Dushpuran. Which one? 15th?
15th, yes.
15th.
So
Okay.
first charan, I didn't understand the meaning of the first charan. Adhyo Bhijanavanasmi.
That means Asmi means they don't consider me at all anything. They think who is like me? Nobody is like me. Adhyo Bhijanavanasmi, they don't consider me also anything. The God says they don't consider me also anything. They consider themselves to be everything. Who is there like me? Nobody, even God is not like me. I am greater than God, like that.
Okay.
They get trapped in this kind of delusion of life.
Yes. Okay. And another question, which is very practical, if you permit me, you gave the example that people cut the trees and they build houses and they construct. And to such people, according to the Vivechan, according to the Gita, and according to your telling, these things come under Asuri Sampatti. Okay.
Yes.
But then
yes.
we here are witnessing those people, they are progressing like anything, and they are achieving all the success. They are getting everything, money, wealth, status, everything. So in this world, how we will control, how we need to follow all those people. So how we'll control our minds that we should not follow this path, because following that path is rather easy rather than following the Daivi path. So what are the ideas to follow this and to avoid going to that path?
Very good. Good question. See, as I said, other people's behavior is not under our control. Okay. They don't know the consequences of their bad karmas. The future generations will have to pay for it. But at any given point in time, we should raise our voice against such elements. We are all common people. We can write a letter to editor. We can write letters to the proper authorities to protest, to raise our voice against wrong things happening. Many things in the country have been stopped because people agitated against it. What we do is we keep quiet. Keeping quiet is not the answer to the problem. Raising your voice is the problem, is the answer. I don't say you oppose every development work of government, but wherever you see something wrong going on, don't hesitate to raise your voice. Don't hesitate to collect more people. Go and meet the MLA in that area, the corporate in that area, the member of parliament in that area, and register your protest. If even then people don't listen, then don't get disturbed. Continue your spiritual sadhana, thinking that you have done your kartavya karma, you have fulfilled your duty of raising voice, trying to educate people what is right and what is wrong. If they are not following that, it is their destiny. Why should we get disturbed because of this and get distracted from our path of spirituality? Our objective, our kartavya karma, our duty is to tell people what is right and what is wrong after studying Gita. 100% people will not follow our advice. That does not mean we should also give up that path, isn't it?
Yes.
That teaches us this particular principle, that try to educate people, but those who do not have faith in Krishna, those who do not have faith in Gita, don't run after them. Leave them on their own destiny.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
next, Neena Didi.
नमस्कार मेरा ये क्वेश्चन है my question is that on daily basis we are doing a lot of acts maybe some of kindness and some of not so kind and unknowingly and knowingly we are doing a lot of things that might be right or wrong. So how do we adjust the moral compass on daily basis so that we are aware of what we are doing and how we can continue to be on this path for righteousness, being aware of what we are doing on daily basis?
Okay. Didi, this brings me to the topic of meditation, dhyan. The best way of absorbing Gita's message in our day-to-day life is to enter into meditation. Now this adhyaya is concluded. Devasur Sampatti Vivag Yoga. We have understood what is Devi Sampatti, what is Asuri Sampatti. Now the time is to meditate on these thoughts. The message is given by Shri Krishna.
Okay.
So the given limited time, I will try to explain how to meditate on this adhyaya. So this adhyaya of Gita teaches us to undertake a profound journey of self-examination, introspection. Shri Krishna describes two tendencies present in every human being, Devi Sampatti and Asuri Sampatti. This adhyaya is not meant for judging others, but for judging ourselves. Now, during meditation on this chapter, this adhyaya quietly reflect on the divine qualities mentioned by Krishna. Avayam sattva samshuddhir dhyana yuvasthiti dhanandamasya adhyasha swadhyasthaparjavam. Fearlessness, purity of heart, self-control, truthfulness, compassion, forgiveness, humility, and gentleness. Ask yourself, which of these qualities are growing within me and which need more attention. Visualize these qualities, these virtues as bright lamps illuminating your inner world. Every quality is a bright lamp in our life. Next, contemplate on the demoniac tendencies. Hypocrisy, dambho, darpo, vimanasya, krodha, parishmevacha. Hypocrisy, arrogance, anger, greed, paurusha, harsh speech, and ignorance, adnyan. Shri Krishna teaches us that these qualities are the real enemies of our spiritual progress. So instead of feeling guilty about them, observe them honestly as a witness. Just as a doctor must identify a disease before treating it, we must recognize our weakness before transforming them into Devi Sampatti. A particularly powerful meditation on this adhyaya will be meditation on shlok number 21. Trividan naraka sedan dvaran nashan matmanaha. Reflect on how these tendencies create unrest in your life. Kamana, krodha, and anger. Then imagine offering them at the feet of Lord. I have surrendered all my kamanas to the Lord, my anger to the Lord, my greed to the Lord. Surrender everything to the God, asking for strength to overcome them. Finally, the meditated upon concluding teaching of this adhyaya, allowing dharma and scripture, wisdom to guide our life decisions. Feel gratitude that divine guidance is available to all those who sincerely seek for this guidance. So the essence of this chapter we should consider during meditation is profound, simple but profound. Every thought, every word, every action either strengthens our divine nature or our demoniac nature. ये एक सेंटेंस हमने ध्यान में रखा that every thought, every action, every word of my life is either strengthening my divine nature or my demoniac nature. Then through awareness, through self-discipline, and through devotion to Krishna, to God, we can gradually awaken the divine qualities within us and move towards inner peace and away from demoniac qualities and move closer to our spiritual freedom and God realization. Moksha, getting one with the God.
So, Suman Didi.
Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya.
Jai Shri Krishna.
What I want to tell you is I really thank you. In such a short time, you have explained it so well and covered the full chapter. Earlier, I had attended Ashu Bhaiya's Vivechan for the part 1, wherein he was able to give only one shloka. So the second and the third shloka was not explained. Where do I get about these two shlokas? Because they are the Devi qualities. So I would like, yeah.
Yeah, we should also study Devi qualities, though.
So I have actually I attended Ashu Bhaiya's Vivechan, and in that only he could cover only one shloka, and second and third was not covered. So do I get
in the next session, no? In the next session, part 2, maybe it is covered.
which one?
Like I covered 21 shlokas. In the first session, Kavita Didi, she covered only 3 shlokas. The remaining 21 were covered now.
Okay, so
somebody,
Kavita Didi's I can go through, right?
Kavita Didi had covered 3 shlokas, 1, 2, 3 in the last
Okay,
session.
I was not able to attend hers, so I
She covered
attended
21
Ashu
for
Bhaiya's.
me.
Sorry. Okay. And one more thing, Bhaiya, I would like, as Didi said in the beginning, do I get to this thing learn Vishnu Sahasranam also in Geeta Pariwar? This is,
Of course, yes.
So how do I
Geeta
go
Pariwar,
about that?
learngeeta.com/VS. You can register there on
Yeah.
Vishnu Sahasranam. Now the
Okay.
classes have started just few days back. The new batch will start in August now.
August. Okay. And one more thing is, as you said, every story would make this shlokas very clear. So how do we get a chance to know the stories? How do we have a chance to know the stories about these stories somewhere? No.
A prosperous merchant, about this shloka, about Trividha Naraka Sedan.
Yeah. Yeah.
One small story, very small story.
Yeah. Okay.
There was a prosperous merchant. He had 3 sons.
Okay.
He had 3 sons.
Yeah.
He gave each of them an equal share of his wealth.
Okay.
The first became addicted to sensual pleasures in life and lost everything. The second became consumed by anger and quarreled with everyone until he ruined his business.
Okay.
The third one was overtaken by greed. Though already rich, he cheated others. And when he was imprisoned, he lost all his reputation. Years later, the father remarked, they were not destroyed by poverty, गरीबी ने उनको सत्यानाश नहीं किया उनका, but by their own desires. There are 3 gates, God says. Each one represented one gate, Kama, Krodha and Lobha. So if we look around us, we can find out these gates people are following in their life. Somebody getting very, very angry, we can definitely find out. We should try to learn how to correlate day-to-day behavior of people according to some or the other shlokas of Gita. Gita is happening in our life every day, every moment, in every action. Either our action or somebody else's action. We should have that sight to start looking, comparing Gita's message and the people's behavior. That is the best way to learn Gita. That is the best way to bring Gita in our day-to-day life.
Thank you so much, Bhaiya.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Myself, Dr. Sujitra Mittal. I want to ask one question. I have understood the theme of the chapter as Asuri Pravartis and the Devi Pravati. And we can introspect ourselves and can develop. I understand, appreciate, and I'll do. And but my question is that when you handle the society, when you handle the people, The world is full of asuri kind of people and negativity, and they give you so much of negativity and the pain by their behavior. And those who are sensitive by nature, like I feel myself, I'm a bit sensitive by nature. I get hurt soon. How to overcome this? I certainly, we will have Devi properties and all, but how to handle the world?
See, we have to distinguish between our body and our pure self. What gets hurt is our mind, our intellect, our thoughts. We are not our mind, we are not our intellect, we are not our thoughts. We are the pure soul. We are away from that. The soul has no body. So what gets hurt is the external thing. The body gets hurt, the mind gets hurt, the intellect gets hurt. We should always remember that we are above all this. These are temporary things. These things come and go. The soul is untouched by emotions. The soul is untouched by others' words of either appreciation or of criticism. We should constantly remember that we are that soul which remains unaffected in all situations. External situations, as I said, are not under our control. We can't tell people to talk in a particular manner to us. They will use their own language to talk to us. Can we control everyone around us? We cannot. We cannot control our own son and daughter. Forget about the society. So, considering this fact, if we get disturbed with the words spoken by others for us, then we are showing mental weakness. A mentally weak person, he can never go higher in the path of spirituality. Mentally, we have to become strong. You to become equipoised in the matters of praise or criticism. Take everything with the same attitude. Equipoise is the principle of Gita. Samatva yoga uchyate. God says in second adhyaya. The one who follows the principle equanimity is a yogi. If we understand this basic principle of Gita, that samatva yoga uchyate, and if we follow Gita in our life, we should at least try to learn to remain equipoised in all situations, whether they are favorable or unfavorable. It is difficult, but over a period of time, we can cultivate this habit in our day-to-day life and bring Gita in our day-to-day life. Trying is our best thing to do.
This thing we are learning till our this elder age. So a lot of mental maturity is required for this purpose to be able to face the negativity of the world. I think my just a suggestion, if we can, Gita Pariwar can do something that it should be incorporated in the children's syllabus studies, like class of 40 minutes or 45 minutes of spiritual learning in the schools, so that a mature personalities will develop upcoming years or the time. The people
See, there
will
are
be
many
more mature to handle.
right. Gita Pariwar has contacted many states. In Madhya Pradesh, they are teaching in school. In Gujarat, they are teaching in school. In Orissa, they are teaching in schools now.
Oh, good.
So we are trying. We are doing our best so that we understand that all these good
Should be
habits can
taught,
get better cultivated
taught
right from childhood.
from the
Childhood.
school. At least from 8th class onwards, child starts understanding a lot. Slight maturity, I mean, understanding develops.
We want to approach every segment of society. That's why we conduct around 30-35 classes for the prisoners. We conduct classes for prisoners all over the country. We do vision for them. We explain to them Gita. We teach them Gita. And then we try to bring transformation in them. The jail authorities subsequently tell us that people have changed. Their fighting has stopped or reduced.
This is true service.
This is how we should do service to society. And this is
Society.
a Nishkam service. Gita Pariwar doesn't do Sakam Karma, any Sakam Karma. So this is a Nishkam Karma that we do for the society. And the more it spreads, the more society will improve. That is our target. A prisoner leaving the prison after his punishment is over, when he goes out in the world, he will be a good man rather than a dacoit again, or a robber again, or a stealer again. So we want to
Very
bring
noble,
transformation in him.
noble work.
Yeah.
Very noble. Huh? Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you. Jai Shri Krishna. Okay, any more questions? If no questions, we can close the session.
Yes, Didi.
Gratitude is not merely a word. It is a heartfelt feeling that fills our relationship with warmth, respect, and sweetness. First and foremost, we offer our gratitude to the Almighty. We express our heartfelt gratitude to Revered Swami Shri Acharya Govinde Guriji Maharaj, whose blessings made the successful conduct of today's program possible. Now, our sincere thanks to our respected Vikas Bhaiya for explaining every concept so beautifully and simply. And above all, we sincerely thank all of you, our fellow seekers and our participants, for joining us enthusiastically, actively participating, asking the question, and making today's program a great success. Thanks to our Arun Kumar Bhaiya and the tech team for successfully managing today's program on Zoom as well as on YouTube. Now I request T. Rajavani Didi, Raja Lakshmi, T. Raja Lakshmi Didi from Hyderabad to kindly lead us in the closing prayer. Didi has worked as a primary teacher, joined in Geeta Pariwar in July 2023. She cleared Pathak exam and offers Seva as a CT for L2 and L3 level. Jai Shri Krishna Didi.
Jai Shri Krishna Didi. Jai Shri Krishna everyone. First I want to tell great thanks to entire Geeta Pariwar for giving me this opportunity to sing Samapan Prarthana. Okay. Right. Yogesham Satchidanandam Vasudevam Vrajapriyam Dharma Samsthapakam Viram Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Shri Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum.
Didi, thank you so much for your beautiful and melodious prayer. Now, as we all know, where the name of Hanuman is remembered, every task becomes easy. Now let us all listen to and sing the Hanuman Chalisa together. Yes, Bhaiya.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारि बरनउ रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजय कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजय शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोज सगावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर पल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाहि दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपै तीनों लोक हाकते कापै भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै महावीर जब नाम सुनावै नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावै सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै चारों जुग प्रताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नो निधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावै जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावै अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटई मिटई सब पीरा जो सुमिरै हनुमत बल बीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर गोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़ हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जयनाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुरभूप।